right. Hi, everybody. This is fucking Saturday afternoon, and it's loud, and you know it's time for the Steve Breit Rock Discovery Show. Jamming out another fucking live show review this week. New look Steve Breit Rock Discovery Show in the all-new Mild Sauce Studios. Kicking it out this Saturday afternoon, inaugurating and breaking in the new situation that we got here. So, like I said in the recent episodes, the hunt was on for new studio space, and we have found it. So
Apparently.
yeah. So as always, I'm accompanied by my super producer extraordinaire, Jake. How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Excellent, excellent. And we're gonna fucking bring you an amazing live show review that took place about a month ago. This was Zealand Ardor, Deaf Heaven, and Baroness at Riviera Theater. Beautiful fucking venue, amazing bands. I think we've covered obviously Deaf Heaven in the past, and if I'm not mistaken, this was one of my bands to look forward to in the Anticipations episode at the beginning of the year, and they did not disappoint. Man, I've been excited. I've been stoked to do this episode for since the show took place, and I'm really fucking excited to get into it. So we started off the episode. I wanted to kind of set the tone of the energy level for this week's episode. So we started off with Pig Destroyer, one of my favorite Pig Destroyer tracks from Maplethorpe Gray. Maplethorpe Gray from the album Prowler in the Yard. One of my favorite albums of theirs, and really good stuff. Like I said, I wanted to start off and kind of set the levels because we've got an amazing show. This was really fucking cool. This was I've seen Baroness and I've seen Deaf Heaven before. Zealand Ardor was a band that I've been a fan of for the last couple of years, and I was very excited to check them out for the first time. And this was one of those cool sets where it was a split headline bill. So every other city, Deaf Heaven or Baroness would take the headlining slot, so they would trade off. So the Chicago show, Baroness was the headliner, but in no way diminishing the amazingness that was Baroness or with Deaf Heaven. I think that speaks to our annual segment, our beer. And as always, we've got our local representation, and this week it is a brewery that fans of the show will no doubt be familiar with, Maplewood Brewery, Chicago's very own. Fucking amazing place. If you've ever been to the brew pub, it's a very cool little place tucked away in the corner right next to, what is that, Coyote Logistics. Very cool stuff, and astute listeners to the show will note that the vocalist and keyboardist of Absolutely Not, a band that we've showcased a few times on the show, she works over at Maplewood. So if you like good beer, you like good music, head on over there and have a drink, have a word, man. It's a fun night out. So cheers to Maplewood. This is their Brownie Points brown ale with vanilla. This was a popular one today. I got over a little bit earlier, and they were kind of sipping them down on the backcourt. I don't have many left. I had to conserve the last few, but excellent beer, very good. It's a 5.4 ABV. It's a 21 IBU. Like I said, it's a brown ale with vanilla. It's a smooth drinker, and it's a good hair of the dog beer. It's a good afternoon chilling on a fucking gloomy Saturday beer. To that point, very delicious, very, very delicious, very smooth, easy smooth, as with all of Maplewood's offerings. Before I get too deep in the weeds with Maplewood, let's move on to our second tradition of the show. So this is another one where we've been talking about it recently. This was a two-shirt show.
A two-shirt show.
Yes.
We recently had a three-shirt show, didn't we?
Yes. What was it?
For new listeners, this is how we grade Steve. This is how Steve grades shows. Some people use stars. Some people use thumbs.
Yep.
Steve has shirts.
I have shirts. Boy, do I have shirts. If I'm not mistaken, this week's shirt, or today's shirt, this is the Deaf Heaven shirt that I picked up from the most recent tour. And you know, I think this is something that we've talked about before. Deaf Heaven, I've seen this is the third time I've seen them, and again, this was one of those ones where the last time they rolled through Chicago, it was towards the end of their tour, so I had to like sacrifice and buy like a really really tight fitting large shirt. So I was super I was super excited to upgrade my wardrobe and get this new one. So there we go, the new Deaf Heaven shirt off of the tour that's rolling through the country this season. And the other shirt that I had picked up for this show was a Zealand Ardor shirt, and they are an amazing band. We will dip into them a little bit later, but you know, it was good stuff. This was the Riviera Theater. As always, it's a nice place, and I say like it. I've seen like I don't know. I like how like the venue is kind of like stair stepped back, so you can be pretty far back on the main floor and still have a nice view of the
Oh
proceedings.
yeah,
And
definitely, definitely.
this was no exception. Got there while Zealand Ardor was playing, so I didn't want to squeeze up too far close. It was a very comfortable show, so I was a little bit towards the back and drinking and feeling good. And I think we could dip into some music. Like I said, this is the shirt song. So um, this was a little bit weird. Deaf Heaven, they traditionally play longer tracks, so we're not going to play as much of them just to fit in what we do have. But I wanted to play one of my most favorite tracks off of the new Bermuda album, their last release. They were nominated for Best Metal Grammy this year. I think they lost it to High on Fire, another band that we've showcased and talked about with excitement. And this one, like I said, this is Brought to Water. It's off of New Bermuda. It was one of my favorite tracks from a couple years ago. And we'll be playing some of their new stuff a little bit later on. So let's just dip into it. Cheers. And we're back. Steve Breit Rock Discovery Show, jamming out to Deaf Heaven with Brought to Water off of New Bermuda. And, like I said before, this was a great set, great venue. It was, surprisingly, it wasn't a sold-out show. It was close. It was crowded, but I've been to far more, like, oversold shows over at that place than this one was. So it was pretty nice. And that leads us to the opening band. And this is a band that I discovered a couple years ago, and have been jamming out to them ever since. So I was super excited to go see them. This was one of those sets, like I said, this is like my third time seeing Deaf Heaven, second or third time seeing Baroness, but I haven't seen them in age, so I was super excited to see them. And then the band I'm talking about right now, Zealand Ardor, really cool fucking stuff. Really a nice, unique take on some aggressive heavy music, and definitely a cool point of differentiation. So I was super excited to see them. The crowd reacted very well to them. It was very cool. It's one of those bands where I think, I initially discovered them actually with my partner at work for a work gig, and we were like, oh, these guys are amazing. We should focus on them. And our clients were very, very, very afraid. So in the end of the day, it didn't work out. But, I'm glad to see that they are rising up and getting bigger and bigger all the time. This is one of those bands to keep an eye out for because similar to Horror, like I've spoken about very glowingly in the past, Zealand Ardor is one of those bands that you're not going to have an opportunity to see them in as intimate a venue as they currently are playing. Every time they're going to come back to Chicago, it's going to be a bigger and bigger set. So I was definitely happy to see them. I've got a couple of tracks off of their most recent release, Stranger Fruit. We will dig into that. I believe I've got Don't You Dare and Ship on Fire. And like I said, it's a very fucking cool take. This is I think this is a European-born expat who is playing with roots music in America, mixing in some heavy vibes, some metal vibes, but also keeping it very fresh. And that's what I most appreciated out of it. And like I said, this was a 2-shirt show. The other shirt that I bought that we're not looking at right now is the Zealand Ardor shirt. So without further ado, why don't we dip into some more music? So we'll do a couple of tracks from Zealand Ardor, then we'll come back, we'll talk some more Baroness and Deaf Heaven, and a little bit more rock discovery. So cheers.
Morning might never come round, these parts are never gonna come up. Morning might never come round, these parts are never gonna come up. Morning might never come round, these parts are never gonna come up. Morning might never come round, these parts are never gonna come up. Morning might never come round, these parts are never gonna come up. Morning might never come round, these parts are never gonna come up. Morning might never come round, these parts are never gonna come up. Morning might never come round, these parts are never gonna come. detractors or the accusers or the people of the other side, I would say that they would make ideal human sacrifices.
Nobody waiting on you, you better run, son. Nobody waiting on you, you better run, son. Nobody waiting on you, you better run, son. Nobody waiting on you, you better run.
All right, we're back. Mild Sauce Live. Jamming out to a little bit of Zeal and Ardor. We had Ship on Fire, and before that, Don't You Dare off of the Stranger Fruit LP, their most recent LP. It's been out about a year or so, so I think there's some new stuff on the way, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Like I said, I really like Zeal and Ardor. I've been a fan of them for a couple of years. This is my first time seeing them, and they certainly did not disappoint. This was, I think, I don't know, man. The way this year's been playing out, we've had a lot of live show reviews in the early part of this year as opposed to last year. I think we played around with a little bit of different theme episodes, if we recall. But this episode, or this year, so far has been fucking just banger concerts.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
week after week.
You've been
after
putting in the
week.
work too.
And I'm out and about, I'm seeing shows, and I've got like the next 4 episodes of live show reviews locked down. I mean, I'm busy, and the city's busy, and that's really fucking fun. I mean, shit, I was just at a fucking show Thursday night that we'll be showcasing. Thursday night in Pilsen, just down the street at Talia Hall. And yeah.
Come say hello.
No. This is the first time in the new spot. So, but no, it's been really fun, and there's been a lot of good stuff coming, or a lot of good stuff recently passed, and there's a lot of good stuff coming. I think, I broke down and I did it. I kind of shit talked it a few months ago, but I couldn't help myself. So I got weekend passes for Chicago Open Air. That is May. I think that's next weekend. So. Yeah, I'm going to be down at Toyota Park.
Nice.
You can be sure we're going to be doing a couple. I think we might break this out into 2 recap episodes for day 2 because there's a really fucking stacked lineup. I was disappointed. I felt that the lineup for Open Air this year is a little off balance in terms of like days. It's a 2-day festival this year. In years past, it was a weekend, so it was a 3-day fest. This year they've got it as a 2-day, but I feel like, just as a music fan, it's front loaded. Like Saturday, I think has an overall more like stacked lineup band wise. A lot of bands we've been talking about in the past, a lot of bands we've showcased and focused on are the Saturday night. So like you've got bands like Code Orange, and then System of a Down is headlining.
Oh,
but
really?
then and then Sunday is Tool. And Tool's been making waves.
They just put out a new album, didn't they?
Well, the new album's on the way. They are like they're
announced the
really maximizing their potential for like summer tours and stuff. So they're dropping like new track. They just dropped a new track I think this week.
Okay.
And they've been playing.
I definitely seen them popping up in the news.
Yeah, they're touring this year, and they're playing some new stuff. So they're definitely in the news. They're going to be the Sunday night headliner for Open Air, and I think a little bit, if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to be a fan, if I'm going to be a Chicagoan, I can't fucking front and be full of shit, but I was really excited in years past about Chicago Open Air, and I was a little bit skeptical, as we talked about in previous episodes, about them shifting to a 2-day thing, and they were asking a lot of money for a 2-day festival. They were charging like 3-day prices for a 2-day show.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit, as a fan, disappointed about that. And I think, if you've been astute and keeping up online, you were able to find deals. I didn't buy the weekend together. I bought individual days and was able to save a little bit of money.
Steve Breit tip.
Yeah. The Saturday night show was a little bit cheaper than the Sunday night show. So if you went and bought individual tickets, you were able to find some efficiencies. But that's getting into the weeds, and that's getting like a little bit distracted. Either way, I paid, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be rocking out, and we'll be talking about that future.
Find Steve chugging beers at Toyota Park.
Yeah.
Next week. Next week.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Next weekend. So that'll be fun. But that leads us back into the set. So this is a little bit weird. Like I said at the top of the episode, Def Heaven and Baroness were trading off headlining slots, and every other day they just bounce out. And at first, if I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed because this show was billed as a Def Heaven show with Baroness opening. So all the Chicago advertisements had Def Heaven top bill, and got there, was jamming out to fucking Zeal and Ardor, and in between sets, grabbing your beers, getting all ready, and then lights go down, and then Def Heaven walks out. It was like, what's up with this? I thought they were headlining, you know? So it was a little bit weird. I wished they might have communicated a little bit more.
Yeah. Would it have changed what you did? I mean, would you?
No, I still would have gone. I still would have gone. It wouldn't have changed.
It had no bearing on anything I was doing.
It had no bearing, but just like half drunk Steve would have been a little bit
I'm just giving you shit.
appreciative of a heads up. But no, it was Def Heaven. They're coming off of their Grammy nomination for their most current release, "Ordinary Corrupt Human Love." I have been touting the amazingness of Def Heaven for a long time now. I've seen them several times. I actually several years ago I saw them at Sub T and had an opportunity afterwards to after the show. Was hanging out in front of Sub T after the set, and George, lead singer, came out. It was just like, smoking a cigarette, waiting for the band to pack out and move out, and I had an opportunity to chat with him a little bit. And, this was one of those situations where, a band might have a stage presence and a persona and a look and a vibe that they're going for, in the public facing sphere. But having a chance to actually like meet George, the lead singer, and just shoot the shit with him for a few minutes, hanging out outside on the street, Saturday night outside Sub T. It was really cool, and got an opportunity to crack that outer shell of the persona and get a little bit into who they were, and it was really cool. He was very down to earth, very mellow, very chill.
It's always good.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And like anybody that's like isn't like a performance prima donna and is like willing to like hang out and chat with the fans. I'm always appreciative of that, and it always ingratiates me into liking that band even more so. And this was a band that I got into several years ago from the Death Wish Records live series. I actually stumbled across this band from their live release from the Roads to Judah album several years ago, and I've been a fan ever since. So as you saw, or as you heard, closer to the top of the episode, we did the T-shirt song, and
Right.
That was off their last record. Their last record was really fucking good. I mean, it was tight. It was 6 songs, and it was just very concise, very brutal, very prescient. I liked it a lot, and I gotta say, when their new record, "Ordinary Corrupt Human Love," came out about 6 months ago, I had a chuckle. I think my favorite review of the record was from Pitchfork, another Chicago staple. But I think they started out their review by saying, there's a great new Smashing Pumpkins record that's come out this year. Unfortunately, Smashing Pumpkins didn't record it. and I gotta say, coming off of and following the arc of Death Heaven throughout their, short and rising career, it's been very cool to see how they started out with Roads to Judah and had that kind of tone of taking the European black metal and bringing something more to it. And it's expanded over with Sunbather, obviously very expansive record, very good. Then going into New Bermuda, which was very tight and concise. I really like the journey that they're taking, and with Ordinary Corrupt Human Love, I like how they've spaced things out and they've gave music a lot of breathing room and a lot of exploration. And there's definitely a lot of haters in the heavy music community who like to shit on Death Heaven, but I am definitely not in that group. I am a fan. I like what they do. I think being a little bit of an old head and liking, I think, like a little bit more like old school 80s stuff. I find like familiarity and cues from old 80s goth and old, even 80s, 90s. I get like Cure cues from them in their more expansive moments. I get, thinking up into the 90s, I get a lot of a vibe of, the excitement I get from Death Heaven is the same excitement I got from the Deftones.
Okay.
Like, 20 years ago, 98, when I saw them at the Vic. Mm-hmm. It's something that's different. It's something that's cool. I think it's challenging the stereotypes and the tropes of genres, and that's what I really love about it. And with that, let's dip into another song. So this is going to be Honeycomb from Death Heaven's newest album, Ordinary Corrupt Human Love. Love this fucking song, and I love how it tracks from you know, heavy to mellow to, you know, it takes you on a journey. And that's what I love about music. You know, music, when it's at its best, is always an amazing journey. And I think they definitely prove that. So without any further ado, cheers. Let's jam out to some Def Heaven. we're back. Steve Breit, Rock Discovery. We transitioned out of Honeycomb from Deaf Heaven off of Ordinary Corrupt Human Love into Baroness. March to the Sea, my favorite track off of the Green and Yellow EP or LP, double LP from a couple years ago. They've got a new record that's right around the corner, Gold and Silver. And they played a track or two off the new record. Like I said, we're transitioning, so we're down into Baroness. And whereas I love Deaf Heaven, and I was super fucking stoked to see them. The crowd was definitely down that like Baroness was the headliner. Like the crowd fucking blew the fuck up once Baroness walked out. And it's been a minute since the last time I've seen them. I think it's been a couple of years since their last album, Purple, came out. And fans of the band know that all their albums are colors. So I think the first one was Red, then it was Blue, then it was Green and Yellow, the double album, then Purple, and now we've got Gold and Silver, which is the new one that's coming out. And Baroness, they come out of that southern fried metal scene that's really been established over the last 20 years with the likes of Mastodon and Kylesa and obviously Baroness and I'm spacing. But anyway, you know the scene, and very good stuff. They were very, very, very fun. The crowd was eating up every fucking word that was coming out of the mics. It was very cool. You can check out my Instagram feed. I was taking a bunch of shots of that evening out, and I was super happy because like right now I'm in the transition. I just bought a new phone. As Jake knows, my previous phone was really bad, and I was having a really hard time taking any photos or videos of any of the shows I've been seeing over the last several months. So it was good to get a new phone, and I'm posting
Still
up
figuring
again
it out.
a little bit. Yeah, still figuring it out. I've yet to download all the apps. I still don't have like Facebook or anything like that on the new phone yet. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to put it on there. It's getting to a point where Zuckerberg's taking a little too much from us, and
That's real.
I think I'm ready to take it back a little bit. But no, like I said, Baroness just fucking owned it. They were fucking amazing, as you would expect. I've seen them before. They never disappoint. I've been a fan of Baroness for years. Red and Blue were like my bread and butter in the early 2000s. Really dig this band. I like the melodicism that they bring to heavy music, and I like that it's not radio friendly. You know what I mean? It's they do what the fuck they want, and I think we're all the better for it. Like I said, the last track was March to the Sea, my favorite track off of Green and Yellow. The next track we're going to play, and then we're getting close to the end of the show. We'll do one more Baroness, and then we'll come back. And, this one I think is as close as you can get to a radio-friendly mainstream track off of their last record, Purple. So let's just dive in. This is Baroness. It's like candy to me. So let's just dip in. This is Shock Me. I like it. Cheers.
Oh, give me a...
Oh.
Wait. March. Nope.
No.
Shock Me.
Shock Me.
Here we go.
There we are. All right. New look mild sauce. we're back. Mild Sauce Live, jamming out to Purple. Shock Me, Baroness. That was all backwards. Baroness, Shock Me, off the Purple LP. And that brings us down to the end of the episode. Like I said, man, this is a fucking great night out. This was a show that I was anticipating, and I spoke to you guys about in January with the Anticipations episode. And it did not disappoint. I was super fucking happy with how this evening worked out. And you know, as always, since we're at the end of the show, shout outs to everybody. Shout outs. The show couldn't be possible without super producer extraordinaire Jake. So shout outs to you.
Thanks, man.
And then, you know, earlier today we had Backcourt fucking killing it with special guests. So good fucking stuff going on Mild Sauce Live on the weekends. Next week can we look forward to some 3-piece?
We should be having the 3-piece back
Right.
in the studio soon.
So shout outs to the 3-piece crew, you know, very fun people.
I think there's Mother's Day in it this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then as always, you know, and you know, last but definitely not least, a shout out to DJ Police State, Mars. I've had the opportunity. I've been hanging out with Mars a little bit, like all week long. Ran into him Thursday night as I was going to the show at Talia Hall. Ran into Mars on the Pink Line at the L.
Yeah. He was on his way here.
And then Friday he was in the office, hanging out with him on Friday.
Yep.
So busy. You
Yeah,
know?
last night he did his thing over at a Lulu around the corner.
Yeah, fucking killing it. So shout out to DJ Mars, DJ Police State. And with that, you know, as always, you can check me out on Twitter and Instagram, Collarbone666. I post photos and videos of all the stuff that we talk about on this episode. And if you have not been following me, in January, at the beginning of the year, I started out doing a new concert T-shirt a day. And we're trying to see how long I can go without wearing the same shirt twice this year. And shockingly,
Doing pretty good.
I think I'm on day 130
yeah?
or 131. You know, I don't know how many days it's been since January 1st. I'm still going. I got a few more drawers of shirts. So, you know, at the beginning of the year, this was a fun little thing that I thought, like, well, how many do I have? This is going to be something fun that's it's going to be easier and more entertaining to do as a daily Instagram thing than actually like sitting on a Saturday afternoon by myself, like counting my shirts.
That's real.
So I don't know when it's going to end. It's still going. I was at a show on Thursday, and it was a 2-shirt show. So we'll be talking. Exactly. It's exactly like I thought in January. Once I started this, I was like, well, I might be able to get 100 days out of this.
Yeah.
Now we're at like 130, and I'm looking, and it's like, I might be able to get 160 days out of it. So
That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, shit, it's getting to a point where I think I'm getting close to a new shirt for a half a year.
Damn.
Which is insane.
That's
It surprises myself.
It's a lot of
and
laundry.
It's a lot of laundry. It's a lot of laundry. And, you know, like this one, I bought this shirt like over a month ago, and this is the first time I'm wearing it. So,
Oh,
I've never worn this shirt before. The shirt I happened to wear yesterday, if you follow the feed, that was a shirt I'd never worn before. That was off of a 2-shirt show on the Breathing Light and Death. We will definitely be talking about that in upcoming weeks. But without further ado, let's just wrap this up. It's been a fun hour. You know, new look Steve Breit Rock Discovery Show in the new Mild Sauce Live studios for Saturday. Be sure to check us out in upcoming episodes. And we're going to be back, I think, next week. We're going to be chilling down a little bit. So next week is going to be a live show review, if I'm not mistaken, of Show Me the Body and Rash. And then we're going to transition. Oh, shit. Then we're going to do some old school. The one after that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be Breathing Light, one of my most favorite Chicago bands. Spoken about them glowingly for the entirety of this show's existence. I love them. They played with Ono, really cool experimental post-rock band, and the legendary Death out of Detroit, circa 1973. Amazing band. So we're going to be covering that in upcoming episodes. And then we're going to be shifting into a little bit, you know, my love for, you know, Chicago industrial and genres like that. We're going to be doing some dark wave. We're going to be doing some dark electronic with Perturbator, Death, and Replicant, Chicago band. So be on the lookout for that. But that about wraps us up for the week, and let's just go out. So we're going to end it. I wanted to play a little bit more of that Baroness vibe, so we're going to play a familial band of that southern fried 21st century metal scene. So we're going to go out with Kylesa with a track off of their Spiral Shadows LP. It's a Tired Climb. So until next time, cheers, everybody. You know, Miles House is kind of